And I say this as Vice President of the United States. I do strongly believe that the strength of our nation depends on the strength of working people. The strength of working people is the backbone of the strength of our nation. Working people, and in particular, union members, are the reason that anyone, whether you are a member of a union or not, get a weekend, get paid leave, get family leave if you get it. It is union members and the working people who are members of organized labor, who have always fought and continue to fight for the rights, for the dignity of working people and the dignity of work itself. You know, my mother would always say to me, she would say, what is this business about unskilled, low-skilled labor? All labor, all work requires a skill. And with that, and understanding that then, one should understand the dignity that rightly comes with working hard and being productive, and the need to then value that by way of wages and benefits, pensions, workplace safety, all of the things that this union has fought for traditionally and most recently has had a historic win on. It is the work of understanding that, especially in these moments in time where, you know, a lot of people are feeling really alone. And when you feel alone, you feel powerless. Well, that's part of the essence of the strength of unions, is to remind workers that you are not alone, that you come with people, that people have your back. When we talk about collective bargaining, you know, for those who are trying to break unions around the country, understand this. If you just approach policy and your thoughts from the perspective of what is fair, okay? So we're talking about all negotiations then, don't we all agree, should have a fair outcome. All negotiations should have a fair outcome. Let's just use that as a baseline standard. Who could disagree with that if they are a reasonable person? Okay? Fair outcome. So is it going to be a fair outcome if one worker has to negotiate with a corporation for fair wages, for benefits, for safe working conditions? Is that outcome of that negotiation going to be fair? Probably not. But organized labor, collective bargaining, is about saying we're not going to leave that one worker out there by himself, herself. We're going to organize around the collective to use the power of the collective to have an equal voice in a negotiation, because we know then, yes, there will be a negotiation, some give and take on both sides, but the outcome will be fair. That's the point of organized labor. That's the point of collective bargaining. It's about fairness. It's a fundamental value that we as a nation say we hold sacred. We foundational principles, fairness, equality, giving people the freedom to live their best lives. That's what this is all about. It's basic, fundamental, foundational to who we say and believe we are as a country. So when I look at the hard work and the sacrifices, the day of action when I was last here, October 12th, and the members here were prepared to do some really hard work in addition to the work you do every day, but to strike, which meant to be concerned in a very deep way about how you're going to be able to pay rent, put food on the table, how long it might take, at what personal sacrifice, at what sacrifice for your children and your family and those who you take care of in your personal life. And you were prepared to do it on behalf of all working people. When I look at the accomplishments that came out of that day of action and the weeks that followed it, and we look, and the acting secretary talked about it, a 32% pay raise over 5 years. That's historic. That's historic. And by the way, so many of you were on the front lines forever and during the pandemic. It is long overdue. You got a pay raise. Long overdue. I think about it in terms of the historic accomplishment through those negotiations, through your preparedness to strike, that happened in terms of workplace safety. We've talked about this. I've met over the years with members here in this very hall and had the conversations, most recently on October 12th. How you work long hours, you work often, so many, work by yourself at night. You're going into those rooms. What that means in terms of an exposure to harassment and abuse, or just somebody just acting like a, you know how to fill in that blank, you know, and having to put up with that because you're working hard and you take your job seriously. And so what you have accomplished in these negotiations, to have the safety buttons now in place. And I was saying to some of the leaders who are here, I think that it's not only going to be about what you've done for your own members. You guys are setting a new standard for workers across the board. You're setting a new standard.
From breaking news, detailed analysis, in-depth interviews, and explainers, follow the Times of India. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like our videos and hit the bell icon to stay updated with the latest.